Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Lori Northcutt, and currently the Commissioner of Precinct 4, and I'm running for re-election. The reason why I have chose to run again is because in the past 3.5 years, you as taxpayers have paid for me to get educated in this job. I hope that I can bring lots of things to the county because we're growing, and it needs to, we need to definitely have things in place so that we don't get caught, in my country voice, with our pants down. You know, and so we need to keep going forward and getting things in place.
Excellent. And what do you see as the biggest challenges that you're going to face in this role, and how do you plan to handle them?
So if it's okay, I made a few notes. And it seems that, as I said, the county's changing a whole lot. I do think that 69 and 19 are a big kind of passion of mine, that I would like to see a change made there. I know it's going to take a lot of money from taxpayers, as well as TxDOT, our state, and so I hope that everybody's open to that when that does come forward. But that is one of the changes I would really like to see going forward. I guess it's not an everyday thing, but it is something that's I'm very passionate about, amongst many other things, but that's probably my number one.
Excellent. And I know that you've been in this position before, but I know that new stuff comes up every day. So when a situation appears where you don't already have experience, how do you approach it and move it forward?
I try to come up with a solution. I mean, because there's always, you're right, there's always something that comes up to us, and we may not be in the know. So to me, as they kind of call me, I'm the researcher, because I do like to know what I'm stepping into, because I don't know how you can come up with a solution if you don't know the background of the situation, right? And so hopefully I could go on and on about many things that's happened in the county that may not have been maintained, or we never couldn't really move forward, because when elections come up, commissioners change, judges change, many positions change, and if you're not really left with a book, if you will, of what we need to do to keep going forward, I can't see that that's actually been done in the past. But I personally, re-elected or not, I've already told one of the other candidates running against me that if that happens, I will definitely leave him a book with goals that I'd like to see him meet. And if I need to help with that, I certainly will as a community member. But I'm all for Rains County. Let's go forward.
Excellent. Who do you rely on for input when making difficult decisions, and how do you weigh conflicting advice?
Well, first of all, my faith. I want to tell you just a quick story. There was a time about 6 weeks ago that right when we got started at this re-election, I have 2 opposers, and I truly thought that maybe it wasn't time for me to do this again. So I'll just tell you, it's kind of funny, but if you're a believer, you'll get it. But I was sitting there one Thursday night and thought, I could not make these posters, these yard signs, but I knew I needed to get them going. And so I just kind of threw my hands up. It was about 9 o'clock on a Thursday night, and I thought, you know what, Lord, if you want me to do this, I gotta have some help. I am not a digital person, and I give up. I don't know what to do. I'm not kidding you. I probably shouldn't say her name, but I'm gonna give her all the credit. Becca Metters texted me, I'm not kidding, 3 to 4 minutes after I said that prayer, and she said, Lori, we support you 100%. If you need anything digital, I'm your girl.
Nice.
Within 3 to 5 minutes, seriously, she AI'd what I had already put together, kind of threw together, and sent me back my yard sign. And I thought, I hear you. And so who do I rely on? I know. It was like a God thing for me because I thought, wow, I hear you, and I'm going to go forward with this, because I just felt like I don't know. I'm a people pleaser, but I try to stay strong as far as I've been a little weak in the past week or so with the thing that we dealt with in court. And you know what that was. I'm not even going to talk about it today. But being a woman, it was it's a hard conversation, no matter who you're talking to. But there was another thing I wanted to point out too. Let's see, what number were we on?
4.
4, yeah. I've been skipped over. Oh, yes, okay. So this is a big deal, and this goes for anybody in any kind of county government or municipality government. There are books that, we all have a book from some sort, whatever job you may hold. And in the county and municipalities, the transportation code and the government code books, they're huge books, they're thick, but the law is there to protect us and to protect our citizens and what we need to do going forward. So to me, my faith and those books, I call them my government Bibles, but they tend to always kind of give me the right answer of which way I need to go. And of course, legal advice never hurts. Okay.
For sure. So how do you decide what issues should be prioritized when time, funding, or resources are limited?
So the public is very vocal today on social media, correct? And the obvious answer here is roads. I personally know without more help, our small county can never get ahead. And I know people say, well, gosh, I know this last year you gave them $1 million just for materials. But people can't really understand, I don't guess. If you live on County Road 1301 or whatever, not picking out a road, I don't even think that exists, that's why I said it. That's the road you want fixed. You could care less about all the other roads. You want that road fixed. And recently, 2 days ago, I've been trying every week to post what Road and Bridge is going to be doing for the week, just for information. But there's always 1 or 2 people that spoil everything. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So going forward, I will not be posting what's going on because the Road and Bridge had it. They answered phones all day of people griping about what was going to be done. And so that's not what the purpose was of that. It was to let people know that we're going forward. We're going to be working on this road today, but your road's coming. And if you want to call, make a ticket, get online, going forward and letting them know what is going on in your road, they always see all that. And then I had heard that people were like, but we don't know if they ever got the message. I promise you, they got the message. And if anybody wants to go out to Road and Bridge, they're welcome. You'll see they have 2 whiteboards that whenever a call comes in, they write it on the board and they put them on the list. It just takes time to get it all done. Having a unit system for such a small county, that was a few facts I wanted to give you. If people don't know, our county is made up of 261 miles of roads. Some are gravel, some are paved. But let me say where I wrote that down. We have 229 square miles and 146,560 acres in our county. Sounds like a lot. We are the 4th smallest out of 254 counties. So, which means we don't get the money back from our state sales tax and so forth because of the fact that we're so small. We just don't have that revenue. We don't have big industry here. We don't have Walmart. And you hear both sides of the book here. People want growth and people don't want growth. And it's been said that I don't want growth. I want growth, but I want controlled growth. I want it to be to where we still can, if our kids go to the park, we don't have to be scared to death that somebody's gonna abduct them. That can happen anywhere, and definitely in a small town. I don't mean it like that, but I think we, here in the county, we have a little bit more safety just because everybody knows everybody, and I love that. There was one time in my life I had moved away, and it's definitely not the same. And it was in Waco, Texas. It's definitely not the same. It's a lot bigger town. No one knows anybody, and you're just a face there. But here, you wave at each other. You go to y'all come back, and you know everybody in town. You know, so I grew up like that, and that's the way I like it. I would hope that others would, but we have a lot of people moving in. You know, we also have a lot of retired. So anyway, go on. I've told you I can talk all day.
You're good. How do you balance listening to constituents with making tough decisions that may not be popular? I feel like you kind of spoke to that a little bit already.
Yeah, but understanding the taxpayer is what everybody likes to be heard, because everybody's situation is different, right? And the way I look at taxpayers, and I've said this to several, is I see them as my employer, and I am their employee. So whatever they want is what I strive to get done. Some of it can be realistic, some of it can be unrealistic until we get to a budget to where maybe that funding can happen, because let's be real, it's all about money, right? And so I suspect that, well, we'll see. Let me look at my notes here, because I had wrote down a good thing about this. I know that every taxpayer's plus to that. I was elected by the majority because they believe that I have good morals and values that I carry with me in this job. True. And I guess I did kind of answer that in the other one, didn't I? But anyway, I'm definitely truly believe that our citizens are my employer, you know.
Excellent. When a decision you were involved in draws public criticism, how do you handle that personally and professionally?
Criticism, big word. I won't lie, it's hard. And recently, what I had talked about, what we talked about in Commissioner's Court the last time, that was really hard on me. Normally, that kind of stuff doesn't, Commissioner's Court never affects me like that, but there's just, every once in a while, there's some personal things that come up that, you know, in all of our lives that you're real passionate about. And so with that was pretty tough. But the question is how do I deal with it? Well, first of all, you just turn Facebook off sometimes. You know, and I'm here to listen. You know, if somebody's got something that's truly on their heart and they need to find a solution, well, I've got an open door policy. I've got a phone. Call me, let me know what the problem is, and I'll see if I can help find you a solution. You know, if you don't know, I'm 20% of the vote. You know, sit on a court of me and 3 other commissioners and a judge, and there's a lot of weight on our shoulders a lot of times, but making good decisions for all, sometimes it's maybe not the best decision for you as an individual, but for all, you know, it's like kids on a playground, right? Mm-hmm. If little Johnny wants to go and play softball on the other side of the fence, well, if he does, we gotta let everybody. So it doesn't always happen that way. So anyway.
Right. So tell us about a project or a situation that didn't go as planned. What did you learn, and how did you recover from it?
Well, that's funny. For me, when I became commissioner, I was shocked at how county government is like a snail. It moves very slow. And the reason why is because there's so many decisions that have to be made by so many different entities before it can actually happen, right? And so right now I'm looking into, we have a lot of interlocal agreements with lots of different entities that stream down to the sheriff, to municipalities, our ambulance service, there's just, I could go on and on about how many different ones we have, and they haven't been looked at in some of them 2 years, some of them 20 years. And so, but there again, it comes back to that, when you get out of office and someone new gets in, if you don't leave them something behind, they don't know. You learn it on your own, such as I have had to learn many things on my own. And it's, then you try to climb back up the hill and hope that you get reelected and try to move forward. So I hope I answered that question right.
Sure did. Can you share an example of working with someone you strongly disagreed with to reach a solution?
Well, I believe in working with everyone, even though you don't agree with them. Sometimes it's for the greater cause, right? And so you just kind of deal with it and do your job with grace and integrity. You know, you just try to make the best decision. I mean, let's face it, my mother always told me, not everybody's going to like you, Lori, and I have found that's true. I am a people pleaser, but I should quit saying that, because I'm a person that wants to please, but you can't please everybody all the time. It's just impossible. So, but there again, just do the best I can to listen and do what's best for my employers.
Excellent. So, how will you make sure, us being a country community and it's kind of sparse here, how will you ensure that people without such a loud voice are heard?
And that's true. I love being involved in city council meetings. I like doing that. I like civic clubs, of course my church, Point Baptist. If you need a church, come on. And school events. You know, I think that when you're out in the community and people know you, and you can ask many people, if I go somewhere, I'm the world's worst, but I want to know everybody there. My kids would always, it was embarrassing to them, but couldn't go to the grocery store. I didn't have to talk to everybody in there, and they're like, Mom, come on. And so, let me get back to what you had really asked me about, making sure that everyone's voice is heard. Well, first of all, that's what I truly believe, that if people know me and they feel like I'm approachable, hopefully they feel like they can come to me and let's talk about it. And so I can listen to them. I think that a lot of people sometimes feel like their voice is louder if they're negative, but a lot of times if you just, I learned that a long time ago. Me and my husband started Pee Wee football here, and that was tough, because everybody wants little Johnny to be the best, and that was really tough. But I learned that from just listening to people. They want to fuss about something. I get it. We all have our own opinion, and we think that might be a better way to do it. Well, I'm open. You know, I'm not ashamed to go and ask anybody, could you help me? You know, I just feel like 4 eyes is better than 2, and 4 ears is better than 2, you know, therefore, and going on and on and on. But, yeah, I think that if we work together, and if anybody, their voices are not, as of yesterday, we went to the senior center, and they didn't know who to talk to. How do you tell others that we've had some budget cuts over there with EDCOG, and the food is not as good as it was, and that was their biggest concern. How can we get some hot meals back in here? And I thought, let me do some research. Let me find out. I mean, our own community here might be able to, you know, we all take care of what we try to take care of our children as best we can, but we should never forget about the ones that were here before us. And that's a big deal to me.
Okay. How do you plan to stay connected with residents once elected, not just during the election season?
That was a super question. I appreciated that, because you're right. Everybody's gung-ho to run and meet everybody and get your vote and this and that. But there again, just like the question before, just staying out in the public eye, you know, not being a shut-in. And, you know, I've heard people say on Facebook and so forth, well, all these commissioners get paid. Well, let me tell you, the pay is not fantastic. But it's okay, you know. It's not why I do it anyway. I'm doing it because I truly, I pray that I can make a change and help the progress of Rains County, right? But going down here, I went down a rabbit hole and kind of forgot what you asked me. But staying connected with the taxpayer. No, that's not what you asked me.
That is.
Yes, okay. And like I said, going to the senior center yesterday, I met some people that I've never known. Good Samaritans is a good place to make sure that you stay connected with taxpayers. If people know that I'm a commissioner or the other commissioners or a mayor or a councilman or something like that, and you're approachable, to me, that's how you stay connected. Not social media, not the newspaper and things like that, not bashing them. I'm just saying a lot of times one-on-one, like we're doing today, I haven't known you. I saw you for the first time the other night, but actually meeting you today, you know, people form an opinion about you, but then when you sit down with somebody and you're not behind a keyboard or a phone, you know, we're all just real people, right? And we all have feelings and we all like to have our voices heard. So I'll let you move on.
Awesome. So how will you handle situations where a decision could benefit someone you know personally, politically, or financially?
Let's see. Well, first and foremost, I like to uphold the law. And I did take an oath to uphold the law in this office, and any decision that I or the court makes it will benefit all, not everyone, but as an individual, but hopefully it will benefit everybody as a whole. But when you're talking about to benefit someone, personally, politically, or financially, I would, because of that oath, I would never do anything that was against the law. I think when you hold this position, I found it very funny that they don't do background checks when you get in these jobs. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I thought that was, so I went last summer and I had our HR lady to do a background check on me. I said, because I have nothing to hide, and I want you to put it in my file because I have nothing to hide. And I was an old country girl, didn't grow up with a whole lot, and I'm working class. I work to make sure that me and my husband, of course, work to make sure our kids' needs were met, and probably got more things than they probably really needed. But you know, we did what we had to do, right? And but me to financially try to take something underneath the table or something, I assure you that would never happen with me. I have said this a whole lot. I don't know if this is going to rub people the wrong way, but I don't believe in the good old boy system. I think that being an upstanding, you can still be an upstanding person without thinking that just because, I mean, if someone does something wrong, it was wrong, and wrong is wrong and right is right. And so I've got 3 wonderful kids that grew up and had, as a child, you always have opportunities to go bad direction, but you know, they chose to stay on the right path, and so proud of them. But no, integrity there again, and just good moral values is what I believe in. So I don't know how to answer that really, because I'm not that kind of person, I guess. So, but who would admit it, right?
Right, exactly. So how do you balance data, expert guidance, and lived experience when making decisions that affect accounting?
Okay, that one was probably a little bit hard for me for some reason, but the facts of our county are our population. Okay, we've got about 13,800 people in our county. So the budget for our county is about $14 million. Ooh, that sounds like a lot of money. Sounds like a lot of money to me.
Does to my pocketbook.
But boy, when you take that pot of $14 million and then you disperse it out to all the different sheriff's office, library, and people know that's lived here how old the library is, how old the jail. The jail is over 45 years old. Yeah, and we're still functioning. Woohoo! Let's see. And stretching that dollar, it's just like in our daily lives. You know, if you get paid a certain amount every 2 weeks, every week, every 2 weeks, whatever, well, you got to stretch it out. You can't just run up and blow it all in one night, right? You've got to stretch it out. And to me, the budget was probably one of my biggest, as our county auditor would tell you. I think she said I looked like a deer in the headlights the whole first year I've become commissioner, because wow, what a responsibility of taking everyone else's money and trying to put it where it needs to go, right? And of course, to me, I've said this for a long time, I think our county is defined by our roads. I get it, people. I mean, I live in the city of Point, and I've lived there 40 years in the same spot. My roads have never been paved, ever. And so they've been potholed maybe a few times, and not many. And so, therefore, same thing with the situation here. Stretching that dollar is something that we deal with on our daily lives, right? Well, it's the same thing in the county. And, you know, we get money from the municipalities have their sales tax that comes in, and we get a small percentage of that, but it's not. And getting a grant writer 2 years ago, true, probably the best thing that we've ever done. But what people don't know is that without a hazard mitigation plan, most people probably don't even know what that is. It's an emergency plan, is what it is. Without that intact, which is a book, no kidding, probably this thick, yeah. And but without that, and we did not have that. We had it years ago, but it didn't get reinstated. So as there again, positions changed, and so guess what? We don't have one. It took nearly 2 years to put it back together, and when you get that, then you're able to go out for grants. And the same thing with the municipalities. They were hindered from that too. They couldn't go out for grants. So in the past couple of years, and I know a lot of people, they're like, well, every time we turn around, the sheriff's getting a grant. How come everybody else is not getting grants? They're a lot harder to get, for one. I don't know why that reasoning is, but the roads and things like that, but the grants that we're getting for the sheriff's office, that should be, honestly, that's kind of your number one. Roads are number one too. It's kind of hard to put those in different spots, but who doesn't like to call 911 when you need help? You know, I've always kind of put it in a category of like, you know, as soon as you get hurt, you're like, Lord, please help me. Well, that's the same thing. 911, can you come help me, right? And so without funding for that, so when we get to that question about doing away with property tax, we'll talk about that in a minute. But
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So at the end of your term, how should residents measure whether you were successful in this role?
Let's see. Well, I hope that people will remember that I worked for them to change policies, interlocal agreements that benefit us all, and I guess mainly that I was approachable and that I would listen and try to bring a solution to everything that they had ever, you know, what a concern was of theirs, especially things that come up in court. I'd love to see the courtroom full every time we have court, just so people could voice what their needs and wants, or they disapprove or approve or whatever, whether it be positive or negative. What's their opinion, you know? Because sometimes it's very hard sometimes when there's just us five up there making decisions. As of, I go back again to that last court, you know, I think that's what they were wanting us to decide on was something that the people should decide on, not 5 people. When only 5 people get to decide a certain thing, I can see where people would get very upset. But don't wait. I wish people wouldn't wait until it's time for us to make a decision. They would call us before and say, hey, wait, maybe you need to think about what you're fixing to vote on. And I'm all open ears for that. I figure the more people I talk to, the more I learn every day. So, anyway, going forward.
If you could, and I think you've already spoke to this, but I'm still going to ask you this
Okay.
one. If you could realistically accomplish only one meaningful improvement during your term, what would it be and why?
That's a good one. My one goal as a commissioner is to fix Highway 19 and Highway 69. That is my main goal. It really is, and I just want everybody to know I'm on it. You know, I'm expecting a call today from TxDOT to. I have a plan. I think it's a good plan. I think it would happen. Would it happen tomorrow? Whew, no. What I want people to really hear, though, is that can I count on you as a taxpayer to work forward? It's going to cost money. Let's just put it down to it. It's going to cost money. And Rains County is a dot to Texas. We're just a small dot.
Yep.
And so it's going to cost millions of dollars to get that problem fixed. But I'm going to work really hard. If I get reelected or not, I still want to see that fixed. So let's hope it happens.
All right, so these next questions are completely community questions that were provided through Facebook when I had reached out asking for them.
Okay.
So the first one is, the first two are regarding taxes, funding, and county resources, with the very first one being about property taxes and appraisal oversight. So what is your stance on reducing or eliminating property taxes for homeowners, and do you believe there should be limits or additional oversight on the Rains County Appraisal District and its Board of Directors?
Okay. So, as I have already said, you cannot tackle anything without a solution. And I've heard a lot of politicians say, well, we're going to get rid of property tax. Well, here's the solution. Your sales tax, get rid of property tax, so then your sales tax is a quarter on the dollar. Who's ready to pay another quarter for every dollar that you spend? That's crazy to me. That's a daily thing when you go to the store that you're going to pay that much more in sales tax. Now, whether that's the only solution I can think of. I've asked several people and no one knows, but there's politicians and even in the state that are running on that. And I don't know, it's easy to say, let's get rid of property tax. Heck yeah. I mean, I've got an 81-year-old mom, and I've heard many other stories about people that have lived their whole lives, bought their home, have a few acres of land, and they can't afford to live in it anymore because the taxes are so high. I get it. We just dropped, I won't call any numbers, but a lot of money last week to pay all of and we don't own a lot, but it costs a lot, right? And so, kind of talking in circles there. I've got some other things I wanted to talk about since we're on that subject, so that people will understand that property taxes, if they go away, just know that repairing roads is probably going to be one of the things that goes away real quick. Your sheriff's office, your ambulance service, all these services are paid by our property tax. Your school tax, and that's the thing. People want property tax to go away. Well, guess what? You're still going to pay school tax, or you don't want your kids to go to school. So take that subsidy that they're going to give you to start your own private school, I guess. I don't think people understood that either. If you take free money, there's always a catch. And so for me, anyway, I wanted to get to this other stuff real quick too about, I went and spoke with our chief appraiser, Sherry McCall, and she has an open door policy too. If anybody wants to talk before you get the big bill, go and talk, because she's very easy to talk to. But so people know, there's it's called PIVO, and back in 1979, the state, the legislation, they put that into play so that every county could have their own appraisal district, right? And so when you talk about these directors, so the only thing that we have well, let me take that back. We have no control over the appraisal district. The state does, right? And so, saying that, we do approve their board of directors, but those board of directors, 50% of that vote comes from the school. They nominate one, the county nominates one. Schools like here in Rains County, Miller Grove, and Alba, they all send us, and Lona, excuse me, they all send us a representative. They don't have to, but if they send us a representative, they are looked at, and if they can go forward, then Sherry McCall puts it on a list, brings it to court, and usually we always accept it because she has put them through a little bit of an interview, and they're usually very knowledgeable people of taxes and levies and things like that, right? And so the public will know that the county has nothing to do as far as controlling the appraisal district. They stand on their own. They're under the state, not the county. But we do work with them to set the tax rate, and how they do that, real quickly. This is a big concern, I think, for people. But in May and August, Sherry sends the state the sales tax, okay, of all the taxes that. If I tell this right, I'm not very good at all that over there. She is quite the guru. But then after she sends that, the state calculates all that, and in January sends us back our value of what we are to charge per property, right? And so, anyway, so I hope I kind of answered that question as far as the state is over the CAD, and we only work with them when we set that tax rate because they hold the values. They know the values before, so that we can get that voter approval rate, no new revenue rate, and then the menaces, I can't ever say it right, but anyway, but we try to always go with the voter approval, and that's what I want people really hear. That is the one that you want to try to stay right at or a little below. Anyway, I'll let you move on again.
Okay. The next one is regarding non-tax funding for animal services. What steps would you take to pursue grants, fundraising, or other non-tax funding to support an animal control officer or animal shelter or services in Rains County?
Okay, so our county is under constraints that have helped us back from moving forward, like to have a brick and mortar animal shelter, right? Even though we can cover a lot, well, the county covers a lot bigger area than the cities. It's going to, and everyone probably knows, if they don't know, I don't have any animals whatsoever because I'm never home, and to me that's a problem when you have an animal and you, of course that's my opinion, it's my opinion, but having an animal and you don't see it but 2-3 hours a day, that's, I don't know, I'm not, we had a small dog in the house, and we gave it to an older couple that the man had Alzheimer's, and it gave him a purpose. It was the most wonderful thing I think I've ever done in my life, is let him have our little dog. Sweetest dog you'll ever meet. But anyway, I'll get emotional and get talking about that. I had our little dog. He's so wonderful. But anyway, so I know it's a huge concern, and I have definitely heard lots and lots of comments on Facebook, especially about a dog shelter and things, our animal shelter, let's say it like that. So my thinking on that is, and this is what's always been said behind closed doors, I guess you would say, or with all of us, if you take money out of the budget for an animal shelter, don't forget it takes money away from roads, sheriff's department, and things like that. It's not what people want to hear, I know that, but it's going to take fundraisers. It's going to take the whole county to make that happen, not just the city of Emory. City of Emory does it, then they and let's think about how big our little cities are. I mean, Point is 2.1 miles of road, which is all that they have, but I mean, I apologize, I cannot remember exactly how many acres City of Point is, and the City of East Walking and the City of Emory, but they're very small. And I know everybody wants this animal shelter. I'd love to have an animal shelter, but it's gonna take grants, fundraising. I know Caitlin Green had tried so hard to get something, get something started. Well, first off, you gotta have some land. So who is gonna give up some land for it? And then, because that's, to me, you gotta start, that's your foundation. You gotta start there, you gotta get some land, and then start moving forward with different projects and go on and on and on. But, I don't know, for me, I don't know the solution for that one, and that's been a topic ever since I've become commissioner. I just think it's gonna take a lot of community, a lot of citizens out of the whole county to make that happen. I know that 2 of the cities here in the county have hired I apologize, I can't remember the name of it, but it's very costly. I was like, wow. I had asked the man to come and talk to Commissioner's Court about it, but I don't know, he didn't. But to me, if we would all work together, we could hire him as one, but I think it benefited him more to go to each individual city and money.
Yep.
Money.
The next question is regarding infrastructure and traffic safety, and you've spoken a lot to this already,
Yes.
but because they're community requested questions, I'm
Sure.
gonna go ahead and
Sure.
ask it. When it comes to the Highway 1969 intersection, what actions, if any, would you support to improve traffic flow and safety at the Highway 1969 intersection?
So I know a lot of people are probably not gonna be in favor of a road bond, but in order to fix Highway 69 and 19, I feel like that's probably, we're gonna have to go that direction. And of course, that would have to be on a ballot. Everybody would have to vote for it. And there again, don't forget what I had said a while ago. We have a lot of retired here, right? And so, but we've also got the school on the other end of town. And everyone knows from about 3:30 to 5 o'clock, it is a mess down here. I mean, it's just, and it's down Highway 19, it's both sides of 69, and so it's tough. Summertime's a little easier, I guess you'd say, but then you throw in Canton weekend. Wow. And so I'd really want everybody to please listen to me when I tell you, I really truly am working. I'm working to try to help see if the county is open for discussion on getting a fire marshal, which is more money. But without a fire marshal in place, they don't only do fires, they also control regulations and ordinances. And with our growth starting, we almost really need to have someone like that in place. A thoroughfare plan, which we haven't had since 2012. So there again, we don't have plans going forward. And so I'm excited to hopefully, I'm hoping I'm stirring something up by talking about it, because I think we need to get it fixed, right?
Yeah, awesome. The next question is regarding technology, privacy, and public trust when it comes to Flock license plate recognition cameras. So recently, Flock automatic license plate recognition cameras have been installed in parts of Rains County, including multiple cameras near FM 47 and Highway 276 intersection. What is your position on the use of these cameras in the county?
Okay. This morning, actually, I talked to the sheriff, Michael Hopkins, this morning, and we have 9 of those cameras that we received through a grant. We were probably one of the last counties in the state of Texas to receive something like that. So when people are worried about their invasion of privacy, I'll just quote him, the little electronic thing you're holding in your hand is recording. They're listening. It's listening to you. It knows what you're doing before you're doing it, I think. But when you drive through any town in the state of Texas, every stoplight has a camera. Every convenience store has a camera. There's cameras everywhere. So for people to think that, another officer told me as I left, she said, tell the people that if a little girl is kidnapped, aren't you glad that we have that system in place? And that's what they do. They only look up things that are happening at any given time where there's an emergency or something like that. And I specifically asked him, we do not have an officer that is sitting there playing on it like a game and looking up everybody's license plate to see who's who and who's where, this and that. Absolutely not. There's procedure to even get on that site to look things up, and you have to have some kind of a warrant or whatever the technical phrase would be, to be able to even go in there and look at that. But there is no one sitting at a desk looking to see where you're at on an intersection. It does not work like that. So for me personally, I'm glad that we have them. I don't feel like it's an invasion of my privacy because I'm not doing anything wrong. I mean, you know, if I go over 70 miles an hour, well, I'm speeding, but you know, if I get caught, I'm probably going to get a ticket. Doesn't matter if I'm a commissioner or not. I'm not abiding by the law. So, you know, I thought when he answered those questions, I thought that's exactly right. There are cameras everywhere. So, your privacy is being invaded at all times the minute you leave your house. Your Ring camera just invaded you. So I guess you'd say that's my take on that one.
There's a second part to that one. So some cities have discontinued their use due to concerns about privacy, accountability, and legal risk. Are you willing to review or reevaluate these systems, and what safeguards do you believe should be in place if they are used?
So I personally would like to know who brought that up and what counties, if it is, that they have taken those cameras down, and for what purpose. Because I know right now, talking to our sheriff again this morning, every county around us, because of those cameras, it's a system in place that they can call Hunt County and say, hey, did you happen to see that, has this been in your area? There was a big supposedly drug bust that happened last year, and because of those flock cameras, those people were caught. They wanted to know my position on the use of them.
Or just reviewing and reevaluating them?
Well, I think really it's a state thing. You know, the state granted us the money because there's a need. There again, I don't think that they're trying to invade. If they're invading our privacy, so is every convenience store, everywhere you go, every time you stop at a stoplight. So I guess I would need a little bit more information from that person or whoever has brought that forward and see what their concern is, because I don't really know how to answer that, because I feel like it's a safety thing, in my opinion. So.
Okay. The last question from the community was regarding environmental protection and future development, especially when it comes to lithium mining and water protection. So with lithium mining potentially coming to Rains County in the future, what is your plan to protect local water systems and ensure residents continue to have access to safe, clean drinking water?
I'm really glad that finally somebody brought that up, because I want everybody to know and be glad for you to come to me, and if you're not able to find that map, I can show you the map of where lithium lies from Arkansas, Louisiana, down into the northeast side, down probably more east Texas. We're glowing. So when Exxon came here a year and a half ago, it was behind closed doors, kinda. And just so you know, there's many times, since this is the last question, I'm going to talk about a few things.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that happen in the county, and we're the last to know, right? Solar farms. The big solar farm that's in Precinct 4, I'll get back to lithium, but the big solar farm that's in Precinct 4, when I became commissioner in 22, that was already a signed deal in 2021. It is private property. It was introduced to the 3 owners of all that land. And it was $1 million deals, right? And it was generational money for them. And for, probably shouldn't say this, but the majority of people that I think that I know would have probably jumped on that wagon, because the cattle business there wasn't going to make them generational money, but they were approached and they took the deal, right? So then they came to the county wanting a tax abatement, and boy, people really got upset about that one. But I wish people would understand what a tax abatement does. A tax abatement protects our county. It protects us, really, to where everybody's like, no, you're cutting taxes. No. What we did, we have a covenant, like a 30-page covenant with this solar farm up here to assure that there's no lithium in the solar panels themselves. Are they still toxic? Maybe, but so is a milk jug that's burning inside your fire pit, you know. That's probably a bad analogy, but still, my going forward with that solar farm, the tax abatement was good for, we protected our road. If there was any problems, those people were fantastic to work with also. They would come out and fix it. They fixed everything back. If anybody has drove by there, they will see they have put all of the right-of-way for TxDOT, put all the grass back, plowed up the land, made it all back just the way they found it. They have done everything they said. They also bought our sheriff's department and fire departments, cameras, drones, some more fire equipment that they needed, and things like that, thousands of dollars. But back to the tax abatement, we set them up on a pilot program, a pilot payment, and so that within the next 10 years, let's say they do go belly up, not everybody says, well, they're gonna go bankrupt, because they do start appreciating the minute, it's like a car, they start appreciating the minute they go live, right? So saying that, because of that pilot program, these people are here to make money. They wouldn't have built that gigantic substation if they weren't here to make money. And that's another thing. People, please know that electricity goes straight to the grid. Everybody's like, that should come right to Rains County. What is the grid? That's where you get your electricity. That solar farm goes to the grid where we get our electricity. So that was kind of a question that I thought, it goes to the grid. So there again, so with that pilot program, we're gonna get the same amount. We got a huge rollback check in January, which does help with taxes. What we use that for, we disperse it out over lots of different things, but people are always like, well, how come you didn't use that for roads and this and that? So then back, before I get to lithium, I know that's what we're talking about. When you talk about that district tax that everybody voted for, we did not have our boundaries set for our municipalities, right? And so our municipalities, which will be on the agenda this next time, all that's done. We got it done. Cost taxpayers a little bit of a chunk of money, but hopefully we can get it all back if everybody will vote for that district tax. That we voted to take every bit of that 1.5% outside of the municipalities of sales tax goes to the roads, straight to the roads, which is awesome. So now lithium. Let's talk about lithium. When pretty much from my understanding, everybody has signed a lease for lithium in Rains County that has a substantial amount of property. Now what that means is if they find lithium, they get money, right? From my understanding, there's only one person in Rains County that is going to allow any kind of mining or drilling on their property. And so when they find it, it sucks it from everybody to there. See what I'm saying? Right. It's not, because it's like a river or something underneath the ground, if I understand right. There's a lot of things I still don't know about it. I will say the minute I heard about it, I was like, what? And started looking it up, heard about retention ponds and about all this water it's going to take away from everybody to to do this drilling and things like that. And that still is a concern of mine, and it still has not been answered. So if anybody's truly concerned about it, they need to start having lots of conversations about it, because I don't have all the answers yet, but I have been looking into it. I've called the railroad commissioner and waiting for a call back from him, and that's another election that's being run right now also. And so anyway, like I say, I'm just trying to do my research and find out about lithium, and I know it's going to make a lot of people have a little extra money in their pockets. But understand this, the reason why so many people signed up is because you got Susie over here, you got Johnny over here, and Barbara's in the middle. And if Susie and Johnny signed up, well, Barbara better sign up, or they're just going to suck that dry out from underneath her. So I understand why everybody signed the lease. They're not leases. I apologize, I'm not for sure exactly what they're called, but they are, I'm going to call them leases. It's not leases because they're not actually leasing the property, but they are going to get the mineral rights. They're going to get the money for it, right? And so, anyway, I don't know if that really answered everybody's questions, because I'm still kind of green on the subject myself. I understand what it is, not for sure where all that water's. I'm not for sure about all that part, but I'm looking into it. So forgive me for not knowing exactly what to answer the question, but anyway, just know that we're always looking out for the interest of the taxpayer. Always. I am. I will say that. I think I can speak for the rest of the court, but I definitely am. So anyway, thank you for the interview.
A couple more questions.
Oh,
so we
okay.
have. First off, I've given everybody a chance to address any kind of Facebook questions they've seen out there. Some have chosen not to because they felt like it's already been addressed. But I want to give you that opportunity too. Is there any Facebook questions you've seen posed that you want to kind of speak to?
Wow. Well, what I just rattled on about just now was some of them. I know that the animal population is a huge concern, and there again, I truly think it's going to take a lot of community to pull together and make that happen. To me, there's never a lot of talk about seniors in this community. There's always a lot of talk about children and things like that, which are our future. But I guess you'd say I'm being a little biased because of my age, but I'm going to be one of those people at the senior center, and probably not too far from now. But as far as Facebook, it's always about roads, and there again, I want people to understand that if they will just call, and what's the old saying, you get more bees with honey than vinegar. Well, that's kind of the way road and bridge is. They're overwhelmed. There's always so much for them to do. There's people that go, we've got a crew of 14, which sounds like a lot, but we gave them 2 extra employees so that they could split the crews up in 7 and 7 and go to 2 different precincts, right? I think a lot of people too, if they knew the history of that, because people, there was a Facebook post last night about, how much money we made and that we have other jobs. Well, I don't know how many people in this county live on $40,000 a year, but it takes a little bit more than that. So yes, I do. Me and my daughter have had a beauty shop in this town for, oh my gosh, we're going 24 years probably. And, but I have put that, you can ask all my clients, I have put that on the back burner, not because of the campaign, but just in general. I don't work as much, but people are always saying, I don't have to go to that office and set 8 to 5. I have a computer, I have phone calls. I stayed up till 12 o'clock last night reading and trying to look at other counties and how they do things. Our Texas Association of Counties, they're always there to help us, because we're repetitive human beings, right? And so what one county does we could do, maybe on a smaller scale, but it can happen for us also. And I've looked at other counties. I know Winsburg got a great big animal shelter with grants and a lot of community help. And so, and if I'm speaking out of turn, somebody call me and tell me. And if you want me to help you go to that direction, you help me with a solution, because I have always thought, don't gripe about it if you don't have a solution, right? I mean, that's the way I've always seen everything that I've ever tackled. Show me a solution, or give me at least an idea. Help me get started, you know, what I need to find out and look at and talk to and things like that. And it's not fair that I have to do all the work. I mean, come on, help me, help help you, right? That sounded like a true politician statement, didn't it? That's not the way I intended it, but anyway, yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you would like to say to the voters out there?
I would. There is one other thing that I hope people hold dear to their hearts. Our county courthouse in 2029 will be 120 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And we still currently have our judge's office in there, our tax assessor where you get your cars registered, and then our JP's office. And then of course we hold court upstairs. If you haven't visited our county courthouse, I wish that you would. I am currently working with the Texas Historical Commission, and a lot of people believe that we own that courthouse. We own 50% of that courthouse. Back in 2009, they went out for a grant with the Texas Historical Commission, and they gave us millions of dollars to restore our courthouse. It did get restored, but sorry, but I'm gonna throw a few people under the bus here. It has not been maintained the way it should have. And so there is a $100 million grant that's out there right now that our grant writer is working on to help us go forward. I'm trying to help her. I've got our local Texas Historical, which everyone needs to join, our local Texas County Historical Association Commission, and our Historical Society, which maintains a little park out here. It's county owned, but the little heritage park out here, they do help maintain that with funds and things like that. But saying all that, I would like to see people be proud of our courthouse, and I hope that we can go forward and get some more grant money to help us fix a lot of problems that we have at the courthouse, and get a maintenance plan in place so that it continues. But anyway, I can't think of anything else. I could talk all day. If I'm hit with the right questions, I certainly can keep talking. We have a lot of new people in the county that are in new positions, and as everyone knows, last year was pretty tough on the county and a lot of us personally, and so it was a hard transition. And going forward, I hope everybody will come forward and talk to us instead of talking on social media. I love an open door. I love to talk. So, come talk to me. See if we can help fix whatever. But anyway, thanks for doing the interview too. Appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.